They say it's one of the most wonderful times of the year.
Christmas?
I mean, this might be second to it, right?
Probably.
What a season. NCAA Tournament, March Madness. And truthfully, I know there have always been, the women's basketball stands out there. But with the growth of the game, it has just made now this doubly as good. I mean, so many people are going to be locked into the women's tournament as well, which is awesome. It's Chris, it's Ash, it's Onorato and Miller.
And I love that it's staggered.
Yeah, a little bit.
Kind of. It gives you, there's a little bit more in the way of Wednesdays with the women,
right.
Sundays sometimes.
Yeah, they've learned early on, like, let's not go head to head with that Thursday. It's crazy. Not going to get anybody watching Thursday. It's just wild with the men's tournament. We're going to make our Final Four picks. We'll make our championship picks. We will give you a long shot that we think can maybe make a deep run in the NCAA tournament, a double-digit seed. And a deep run, I mean, win a couple of games. Can you get to the Sweet 16? Maybe not deeper than that. We will give you our favorite first-round upset as well, and we'll pick the champion on the women's side. Also, Will Johansen from the Albany FireWolves will join us here on the show. Major League Baseball season is underway in Tokyo. Crazy. We're loaded up and ready to go.
This is Onorato and Miller, sponsored by Alpen House.
Onorato and Miller, Alpen House, Bevs, Marcella's, Novice, and Performance Industrial.
Want me to give us a check? Do we think we have audio?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think we're doing okay. I'm sure the people out there will tell us if we
All
don't.
Right.
Sam is watching. Sam, always good to have you, buddy, finding us live as we do this on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, we're switching it up.
Ahead of the NCAA tournament. Look, you get the first four. So, we try to get ahead of that a little bit, but certainly want to be ahead of the Thursday games with making our NCAA tournament picks. So if you're catching us on TV, this is being done live on a Tuesday on News Channel 13's Facebook and YouTube. Okay.
So you'll know a bunch of results.
Yeah, you're right.
The whole first round is over.
You'll go, Onorato, one of your Final Four teams already out. Yeah, that's probably the way.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, I know. Great, because I get chalky here, people. Very chalky. Here are the one seeds in order. Auburn, Duke, Houston, Florida. Auburn's lost 3 of their last 4. Duke has injury concerns with the best player in the country, and that is Cooper Flagg. Houston is like one of those prove-it teams here. I think that the Cougars, and this is great, like if ifs and buts were candy and nuts. If Houston had stayed,
is that a thing?
Oh yeah, the saying is if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas or something like that.
I like that.
So if Houston had stayed healthy, the last 2 NCAA tournaments, I think Cougars would have made a run.
Yeah.
Now can Kelvin Sampson get a healthy team? If he can,
yeah.
I think this Houston team is better than people are giving them credit for.
Their style of play doesn't always fit the NCAA tournament either. And that's not to say, listen, Syracuse has had tremendous success when their teams weren't that great, and Houston thrives on the defensive end of the floor, and that's kind of been their MO the last few years. Yeah. And it's gotten them far, but not far enough. Yeah. They eventually run into some kind of offensive buzzsaw that figures out what they bring to the table. So until they can prove that they can score with a high scoring team, I don't know. You'll see. I picked against them.
Okay. And I think what I feel anyway with this tournament is you've got to be able to get into the high 70s, if not the 80s, with consistency. That championship game, and I'll give you my that's going to be a game played in the 80s, I believe. Maybe the low 80s, but still, I think if you set the over-under, I'd put it at 160 and see it go over from there. So anyway, the one seed, weakest one seed is which? Florida just won the SEC championship. Duke won the ACC championship.
I'm gonna go Houston just based on style
of play, you say?
Yeah, but yeah.
SEC has 14 teams in the NCAA tournament. The Big East had the record of 11 back in 2011. Now, some context here. The SEC...
The conferences are enormous.
Yes, correct. Yeah. You have so many teams now to choose from that you're going to see this, not with regularity, but you're going to see conferences get double digit number of teams in with regularity. Yeah. So
I mean that 11 was shocking.
What it says about that, the Big East back in the day in 2011, I miss that conference being as good as it was. And look, this year's Big East got 5 teams in, I think.
The Big East is back in a litlittle bit of a way, thanks to Rick Pitino.
Yeah. But 14 teams, and one of them will play in the first 4, which is Texas. First four are interesting. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, only because the games will be well over by the time a lot of people see this when it hits TV. But North Carolina is an 11 seed. That has gotten a lot of reaction. They're a play-in. Texas was 6-12, I think, in the SEC. They're an 11 seed in the play-in game.
For me, and I understand how great of a conference that is, but you can't only win 33% of your games in the conference and go to the tournament, right?
Yeah.
That feels wrong.
Tim's in on the saying. I think people are just learning about this. I don't know where I picked it up. It's not.
Better ask your parents. Maybe.
No, it's not them. I know that. It could have been a former coworker in my first job in Watertown.
Okay.
Not sure. Anyway, Carolina's getting a lot of reaction here, and do they deserve to be in? Will winning a game or two? Remember Syracuse? How many years ago was it? They were an 11 seed.
They've been an 11 seed I feel like a couple of times.
And did they go from play-in to Final Four?
I don't know that they played in that year.
Okay.
But they were maybe they were a 12. I forget. They were a double-digit seed. That was the year you're talking about they beat Gonzaga.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, we want to talk constantly about if they win 2 or 3 games, it proves they belong. No, it doesn't. It proves that they played better than the other team on that particular day. The proof of whether or not you deserve to be in this tournament is your year-long resume, not what you might do over a 2 or 3 game stretch here.
Yeah, I think the point sometimes is as an 11, you're going to be playing what should be a better team than you. And if you're going to beat those higher seeds, okay, now you've proven that you deserve to be in because all these other teams are. And I get it. Forever, the talk was Syracuse shouldn't be in, Syracuse shouldn't be in, Syracuse shouldn't be in. And then they went and won a ton of games and made runs to the Final Four. People would still say they shouldn't have been in to make the runs to the Final Four.
Correct.
I get it.
And this is not a Syracuse thing. I'm not picking on them. So let's just use North Carolina or Texas here. If North Carolina or Texas end up in the Elite 8, all that means is that those teams are now playing to their potential.
Yeah, but weren't 5 seconds ago.
Right.
So.
You didn't do enough in many people's minds to get in. All of that said, look out for North Carolina to make a little bit of a run here, I think.
Okay.
We'll see. Only once in history have all 4 number 1 seeds reached the Final Four, and that was in 2008. Do you have all 4 number 1s making the Final Four this year?
I do not.
Okay.
I hate doing that.
Neither do I. But I'll be honest, looking through the bracket the last couple of days and listening to all the experts on TV,
everybody wants all the ones.
I'm having a difficult time finding these double-digit seeds.
Yeah, for sure.
To even win first round. Some I like. We hear a lot about Drake, and that makes me kind of want to go the other way. Missouri's a high-scoring team out of the best conference in basketball. I'm having a hard time finding one of these Cinderellas. You know it's going to happen.
Yeah, always does.
I'm just having a hard time landing on one.
But it's somebody I'm not saying this is going to happen, like a Lipscomb that nobody knows anything about, and all of a sudden, and they're a very good team and have been all year, but no one's paid attention to them until they go beat somebody that's a name, and it's like, oh, okay. And they're good enough to win games like that. They just never have the opportunity during the regular season.
McNeese is one that a lot of people like because of the way that program used the transfer portal. It's Will Wade, who had success at LSU, and I think we'll get I think there's going to be a big program whether it's NC State or Villanova, that's going to take a chance on Will Wade, is going to be willing to look past what happened at LSU and to say, this guy wins, we need to win. Our fans will excuse and forgive if we win. Will Wade's going to get a Power 5, because I'll include the Big East here, a Power 5 job after this season. And McNeese, first round game, as I scan the bracket here, Clemson. Now, I
like Clemson.
Me too. I don't think McNeese wins that game, but you're going to hear a lot of people picking McNeese to win that game. I think Clemson wins a couple of games, actually. So, again, having a hard time finding that double-digit seed to get it done, to make a deep run. All that said, we will pick one, reluctantly or not. We will pick a double-digit seed to win a couple of games in this tournament. We'll give you our final 4 picks as well. Dirty, difficult, done. It's Aaron Rodgers. Even in March Madness and Major League Baseball's opening day.
How about I'm done with Aaron Rodgers? I think that's been my dirty, difficult, done before.
Oh, yes, it has.
Multiple times.
Still getting some headlines. And this time, we can't blame him.
No, it's not him.
Back right after this on Onorato and Mel.
Grab the family and get on the water in style with a Barletta pontoon featuring the power of a Mercury outboard motor. You'll be slicing through the waves with a smoother, quieter ride, leaving you to relax and soak up the sun. Whether you're cruising with a family or tubing and skiing, Barletta and Mercury will give you the best ride on the lake. With their unmatched reliability and refined performance, Barletta and Mercury won't let anything hold you back from having a summer you'll never forget. So don't wait. Stop by Alpenhaus Boats and start your next adventure today. Check out our great selection on Route 30 in Amsterdam and online at alpenhausboats.com.
I'm Jeff Ukelek. I'm owner of Bev's, and we're a beverage center in upstate New York. You're just going to have that wow component when you come in, like, wow, look at this place. It's bright, it's clean, it has everything that I need. Consumer is king. Be able to provide them a friendly environment and a place to shop, no matter where they are, whether they're down here in Saratoga or whether they're up in Queensbury. You're always going to get the same experience when you shop at Bev's. At the end of the day, if you walk in your stores, you're going to see a lot of people that have a lot of pride.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
All right, and as we do the show live on a Thursday, it's 6:43, and that means the first 4 has tipped off.
Oh.
Alabama State. Oh, here we go. Sam is on it. Alabama State with the first bucket of the tournament.
You picked them in our pool.
Yeah, we have are we allowed to talk about that? There's a very cool pool that we are part of.
Don't talk too much about
every year. And
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's all done online, and you pick.
Online sort of.
Yeah, you're not filling out a bracket, right? Which is the traditional way that people entertain themselves this time of year, and it's still fun to fill out a bracket and keep track, whatever.
Oh, I don't like filling out brackets anymore. This is way more fun.
You pick a certain number of games every day, whatever games you want.
So, like tonight, we picked 1. Tomorrow, we pick 1. We pick half the games basically every day,
based on the spread. And so even if your team doesn't win the game, you can still win a point.
Right.
And it's not...
Well, not tonight we can't, because we're only picking 1. But
no, because you could cover. You don't have to win. You just have to cover.
Yeah, I get you.
So if your bracket is busted by Sunday, which believe me, mine has been... I have picked a national champion before. And that team has lost before the Sweet 16. And you think, well, probably done.
Yeah.
Because you lose so many points without that team making a deep run. This is not the case. It keeps you engaged. It keeps you in the hunt throughout the tournament. So there are times after that is how we will entertain ourselves.
That I'm like, okay, I need a break. But then you get a break.
Yeah.
You pick 4 days really 6 days of games for the first round here. But then you get a break.
Yeah. So however you choose to celebrate and entertain yourselves, good luck this NCAA tournament. Okay, let's do our dirty difficult done here. We'll give our final 4. We've got Will Johansen from the Albany FireWolves coming up in about 15 minutes or so, but let's move on to the NFL for a moment.
And now, dirty, difficult, and done. Sponsored by Performance Industrial.
Bill Miller, Karen Miller, their great squad at Performance Industrial, where there's never a job that's too dirty or too difficult to get it done.
Speaking
I was
of
looking.
dirty,
I know
your sweatshirt's dirty.
I was looking to see if I had a Performance Industrial logo on this, but I don't.
No,
it is Folds of Honor, which I got at a Performance Industrial Tinney's Tavern Folds of Honor Operation Yeti Expedition Yeti event, but no logo on it. Come on, Bill. Step it up, dude. All right, here's our Performance Industrial Dirty Difficult done for this week. Steelers defensive tackle Cam Hayward on his podcast. Everybody's got a podcast.
Everybody's got a podcast, including us.
That's right. Says he is done waiting for Aaron Rodgers. Now, this is kind of interesting to me. No offseason programs have begun.
What else are you going to do?
The Giants don't yet have a quarterback. And so it's not like Pittsburgh's the only team waiting around to figure this thing out. I understand a little level of frustration from a veteran of Hayward's status and tenure. He's been with the Steelers his entire career. It's kind of like, hey, man, if you don't want us, we don't want you. I get that. But there's no rush currently for Rodgers to sign with the team. And quite frankly, if I were him, I wouldn't until after the draft anyway. What becomes important and annoying is if he doesn't show up to even the voluntary stuff. You're jumping on with a new team. I want you all in. I want you meeting your teammates. I want you getting reps with your wide receivers and tight ends. I need you all in. And what's interesting to me is like later on in their careers, Brady was like this too. They want to show up less and less to some of those. I would think to myself, this could be my last year. I'm in. I'm showing up. I'm invested. He's 41. I got another 30 plus years of my life to never do this again. I am in. And so when they peel back from that stuff, it does surprise me a little bit. But anyway, this will make for a very interesting meet and greet if the Steelers do end up signing Aaron Rodgers.
I just think it's funny because, like, okay, you say you're done waiting. What are your other options? Who is going to be your quarterback? You don't have anyone currently on the roster who's going to play quarterback for you. So guess what? You're not done waiting because that's the only choice you have is to wait, whether it's for Aaron Rodgers or whoever else, somebody you're going to draft or somebody else you're going to sign.
Bring Russell Wilson back?
Yeah, but that's still all up in the air. There is no one on your roster right now who is yours.
Yeah, it's Mason Rudolph and
that
I think Skylar Thompson are the two quarterbacks on the roster.
They don't count.
No, they don't. And what is Rodgers waiting for? What is Rodgers waiting for? His options are the Giants and the Steelers. Forgetting somebody else here?
Not unless he wants to go back and play for the Jets with Justin Fields. I get it, but
yeah. So maybe Rodgers is really trying to decide whether or not he even just wants to play, or he just wants a better offer from the Giants. I mean, there's all this talk that the house he's got in the metro area, he doesn't want to leave that. He just redid it. I don't know. Is that enough to make you want to play for the Giants? If you want to compete and have a chance to win something, you have to go to Pittsburgh. The Giants are not in that position. Even if you bring Rodgers on board, in my opinion. Pittsburgh made the playoffs last year, and Russell Wilson lost his last 5 games. This is a team that's ready. They have DK Metcalf now. Yep. They have George Pickens. Freiermuth is a good tight end. This is a team that is ready. I don't know what exactly he could be waiting for, but it's better not to try to get in the head of Aaron Rodgers. Mel Kiper Jr. has his latest mock draft out. And I went top 7 here for our Jets fans. I want your thoughts on the third pick. Giants taking Shedeur Sanders.
I'm going to be so upset if they do it.
Only because Hunter is still on the board, or just in general?
I mean, you know that I'm not really into Shedeur Sanders, but yes, because Travis Hunter is still available. And I know, what are they going to do at quarterback then? I don't really care. It's not going to be good anyway. So you might as well build for the future.
And Sam does point at Jameis Winston. Okay, but is he the guy?
I don't know. He could be.
If you are Brian Dable and Joe Shane, you need to save your jobs. Are you putting that on Jameis Winston?
Well,
I'm not.
My thing is too, like if you're just trying to get through another year and you want to take the best available player on the board, then you start Jameis Winston and you draft Travis Hunter, and then you draft a quarterback next year. But I don't know that they have that kind of time.
They don't.
They're not going to get through that. So it would be somebody else doing that.
You're 2-6, gone. And I know the Giants are like, we don't really fire coaches. We've seen it done before.
Yeah.
Guess what? They start slowly, out. Mara's moving on. Cam Ward, number one. This seems to be consensus now. Everybody's saying, hey, Tennessee's going to take Cam Ward. Abdul Carter to Cleveland, which I find interesting here that the Browns would do this, but you put him on the other side of Myles Garrett. Kind of fun.
Yeah, not bad.
I'm going to skip the Giants here for a second.
Yeah.
New England has done everything this offseason other than add skill position players. And so if Hunter's there at 4, guess what? They're going to take Travis Hunter. They need to get Drake May some help. And I think they use him as a receiver, not a DB, but I don't know.
It's going to break my heart if they're that much better this year.
Jacksonville would go, according to Mel Kiper, here with Mason Graham from Michigan, Ashton Genty, that Boise State running back.
That's high for a running back.
Sure is. And Mel is not a pro running back first-round guy at all. He would say, don't even never take a running back in the first round. Tight end Tyler Warren from Penn State to the Jets. The talk that Shedeur Sanders could fall out of the top 10 is absurd. It's not going to happen, people. Teams are so desperate for quarterbacks. And Shedeur Sanders is good. I don't know where we got the idea. Like, now we're picking him apart like he's not that good. He's an incredibly accurate quarterback. I think he was second in all of FBS in passing touchdowns over the last 2 seasons. He threw 74% completion rate. He suffered the most sacks, so he's tough.
Here's the deal. If Shedeur Sanders and Jacksonville wouldn't, if Shedeur Sanders were to fall to Las Vegas or the Jets, you take him off the board.
Yeah.
I don't care about Geno Smith,
and
I don't care about Justin Fields and the contract he just signed. You let those guys have at it. And if Shedeur Sanders is that much better, he starts. If he's not, he starts behind those guys for a year or two, and then he plays for you. There's no way he gets out of the top 10. No chance, because you'd be stupid not to take him if he was there for you.
Yes.
Because you don't have your quarterback of the future.
And I just think you talk yourself into, look at what CJ Stroud did in year 1. Look at what Jaden Daniels did in year 1. Again, the desperation of Dable and Shane will be, we gotta try something here that maybe keeps our jobs a little bit longer. And if Sanders is good off the jump, or you can, talk ownership and, hey, this is our guy now. We finally have our guy. We can grow with him. In that mock draft, only 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round, according to Mel, and all of them in the top 10. Jackson Dart, number 9 to New Orleans. Now, everybody was very impressed with Dart at the Combine. I don't know. Product of the Lane Kiffin offense? Maybe. But again, I just keep saying to people, and I would put better money on there being a 4th quarterback to come off the board late in the first round than just these 3.
Sure.
Teams are dying to find their guy. Now, maybe there just aren't enough openings to warrant a 4th one. Like, we may be looking at the 3 teams that just desperately feel like they need a quarterback. And that's it. Maybe that is the only 3 that we get.
Yeah.
Bengals are all in on offense here.
Woo.
Your thoughts on the money they are spending here on 2 wide receivers? Joe Burrow is getting what Joe Burrow wants. Essentially, here he stumped for Chase and Higgins to get paid, and they sure did.
You had to pay Chase. I mean,
no question.
Higgins, you didn't have to. You had to pay Chase. You had to make him the top paid wide receiver in the league, because he's the top 2 or 3 wide receiver, and everybody just gets paid more, even if they're not the best. They're close to the best. Fine. Higgins feels like a lot of money, but whatever. I mean, if you want to win, they haven't won in the last few years, and they've had both of those guys. So I'm not sure how that makes them better than they are, but that's where you have to start. You have to start there and then build from that. But it's a lot of money to tie up in 2 guys, and obviously Burrow makes what he makes.
Yeah, I think I would say to Joe Burrow, look, we understand you're one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league right now. We are paying you as such. Mm-hmm. You need to be able to find a way to win without two receivers making basically $30+ million each. Chase is the highest paid non-quarterback in all of football now. Higgins is making just shy of $30 million a year.
Yeah.
I would not have done this with Higgins, and I understand it may have ticked off Joe Burrow, but I would have said, look, we're going to fill in around Chase, but we've got to get you more help along the offensive line and on defense. That defense was atrocious. Yep. And now what are you telling me? You're going to let Trey Hendrickson walk?
Right.
I don't love the investment here by Cincinnati.
Did he retire?
No. Hendrickson? No.
Oh, Sam Hubbard. Was it Sam Hubbard retired?
Yep. Like father, like daughter. Doesn't think Sanders is the answer either. Take Hunter, figure out quarterback in the second round, which
Spearsy
which
up
look,
there.
I don't think is a terrible.
Yeah. Maybe Spearsy. Maybe. I don't trust anything about that team.
Talking about the Cowboys,
yeah.
Of course. Look, I don't hate the idea. Mm-hmm. Again, I just think if you had more secure coaches and GMs in place, you could say, hey, you know what? We like Kyle McCord. We are willing to
do it. There was a guy named Ryan Nassib that played for them for a little while. McCord's a lot better.
Well, let's hope so. So now,
yeah, you could.
You've got DeVito and Winston, right?
And that's it. I was going to say, otherwise you're banking on starting Jameis Winston or Tommy DeVito. That's not where you want to be.
Yeah.
But you could get a guy like Kyle McCord in the 3rd round, 4th round, whatever, wherever you think you might get him.
Might go second. Yeah.
Maybe 2nd round.
Yeah.
But still, it allows you to get the best available player and not have to reach on a quarterback.
Speaking of Syracuse football, I love this. I hope it happens. The NCAA would have to, create an allowance for it. But Deion Sanders said, I want to create more of an NFL model for our spring game. Let's bring a team to Boulder. We'll practice against them for 2 or 3 days, and then we will play a scrimmage against them, i.e. the spring game.
Can you imagine the fights?
Fran Brown was like, sign us up.
Yep.
We will come to Boulder, and I want to see it.
I love that about Fran Brown. Let's go.
All
about it.
All these people who have no lives, who actually watch spring games on TV, I don't know.
I don't.
I don't know how you do it. This one I'll watch.
Yeah, because it's an actual game, at least against two different. You got two different opponents.
Look, if I've never seen something before, there's a good chance I'm going to check it out at least for a little bit. And I don't know, the fight thing is interesting, and I don't know if coaches will really sign up for this across the country because of the potential of injury. But God, is it going to be that bad? Are they going to fight? The thing with the NFL is you're in the heat of July and August, and they just are angry.
When you practice against one another, it gets a little dicey. But
I hope this happens.
I think it'd be great.
Currently, the NCAA would not allow this, but Deion is advocating for it big time. And
what Deion wants, sometimes Deion gets.
He should. He is creating conversation around his program here in the middle of March. So, yeah.
As is Fran Brown.
Yeah, you got to feel good about where the football program is if you're a Syracuse fan.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the fact that we're not sure who's going to play quarterback this year.
Figure it out. All right, let's take another break here real quick on Onorato and Miller. Back in 45 seconds. We will be joined by Albany FireWolves defenseman, transition dude, Will Johansen. Next.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
The great thing about novices, no matter who you are, they're going to put all the detail in the world into your brand. I feel like they have been a big part of my success, making me feel comfortable.
This is Harrison Butker, Super Bowl champion kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. Claim your crown.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alphen House.
Open House, Bev's, Novice, Performance Industrial, and Marcella's here on Onorato and Miller. Albany FireWolves have won back-to-back games, 3 of their last 4, and only 2 games out of that final playoff spot in the NLL. They need all
combined
the wins,
standings,
right?
all those...
top 8 get in, right?
Yep.
Do you like the combined standings? What's the vibe around the league on that? Do the coaches and players like it?
Well, we can ask one of them,
right.
But he doesn't really know any different.
Sure.
He's too young to know any different.
Yeah.
I like it because you see more teams. It was a lot of playing. You basically played everyone twice in your division.
Mm-hmm.
And now it sort of opens it up to see more teams, which I kind of like. It forces me to know a lot more.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But yeah, I like it.
All right, Will Johansen, torn ACL is no problem for this guy to come back from one of the front runners for Rookie of the Year in the NLL and doing a ton around the Albany Capital Region community. Will, it's good to have you on the show, man. It's Chris and Ash. How are you, dude?
Doing good, thanks. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, thank you for jumping on here. Congrats on the last couple of wins. Does anything feel different about the team now in the last couple of weeks that has led to victories?
I mean, throughout the whole year, I think we've done a good job of kind of staying positive and keeping the right message. Early on in the year, a couple of games, I thought we played well and dropped them. A couple of bounces didn't go our way, but just with kind of the group that we have, coaching staff, leaders, and even the young guys on the team, I think we always kind of kept a positive message and had a lot of belief in what we're capable of. Over the last couple of games, I mean, we've made some changes and everything, system-wise, but I also think a lot of it just comes down to playing a full 60 minutes, kind of giving it all we have. So I'd say kind of throughout the year kept the same message, but it's just kind of been coming together here a little bit at the end. Even when we were 2-8, the goal never really changed. We weren't really looking at the season any different or kind of writing it off. So it's nice to get the results we want in the last couple games. So just kind of sticking with it.
Well, you mentioned the system change. So a few weeks ago, along with the system change, Coach Clark switched coordinators. I'll call them coordinators, your O guy and your D guy. So Clem DeRazio and Daryl Gibson just traded positions.
Yep.
Daryl Gibson played his whole career as a defenseman in the NLL. So it's not quite as strange as people think it is probably. What has that adjustment been like for you? And obviously not only the person, but yes, you guys did switch the system as a whole and how you play defense.
Yeah. I mean, it's the first time in my sports career where something like that's kind of happened, but I think it's been a positive change. I think I mean, at the end of the day, I think the switch kind of falls back on us as players. We weren't exactly doing our job. Clem, awesome coach, both ends of the floor. So is Coach Gibby. Both give huge respect for both of them. They both were really good at both sides of the ball. So it's just been a change. But I think it's been good. We're obviously learning the new system as we go, but I think it's allowed us to play a little bit faster, a little bit more confident. I think you can see in these last couple of games, we've been playing a little bit better defense and given Doug looks that he's been able to just kind of swallow up. He's been playing really good lately for us too, so that's obviously huge. He's our backbone. So it's been fun though. I've enjoyed it.
Mentioned at the top that you missed all of last season with the injury. How do you feel now? Did you feel when you stepped onto the floor game 1 like I'm 100%, I'm ready to go? Has that been a process all year long for you? And now do you feel like maybe you're back to pre-injury?
Yeah. I mean, I was obviously out for over a year. I had a lot of people, got a lot of different opinions, and I was told kind of not to rush back into it, which I think in the long run was a good thing. Like 6-7 months in, I was like, oh, maybe I can come back soon type of thing. But looking back on it, I'm really glad that I didn't. You can do all the training and like PT and everything like that you want, but when you actually get out there and play that like first day of training camp, it was moving fast for sure. Like that was like my first time playing sports again, like after the injury, and it was also like my first NLL training camp, so it's kind of a double. But first day back, definitely fast. I wouldn't say I felt normal right away. There was still kind of some like footwork things I needed to work on and just getting used to the speed and everything like that. So at first I kind of took my legs a little bit, definitely tripped over my feet a couple of times, like things that wouldn't have happened in the past. Throughout the year, I think it's improved. Can always get better. I'm happy where it's at right now, which is good. But yeah, it's been interesting. It's been taking a little bit of getting used to, kind of. At first, couldn't exactly make like the same moves I was used to. But every week that goes on, every week that goes by, it's getting a little bit better. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable now. Yeah.
Speaking of injuries, you guys have suffered quite a few on the defensive end, but you get Colton back a few weeks ago. Will, how much of a difference from a leadership standpoint, but just a defensive anchor standpoint? He's the captain, but he's also one of your better D guys. How much of a difference has he made just in kind of the overall play of the D?
Oh, I mean, it's huge to start with what you're saying. One, just even having him like around, like in the locker room, everything like that. He's like our biggest voice. We all follow his lead. So it's been awesome just having him back in that aspect. But then obviously on the floor too, he's a beast. He makes tons of great plays. He's our biggest, kind of strongest player. He's unreal. And even just like on the floor, his communication and everything is huge. Even on the bench, like after a play or a timeout or something, he's so smart, sees the game so well. He's so helpful to all the young guys. So having him back has been awesome for us. You can probably just see it in the play, even how effective he is on the floor, but I think he kind of elevates everyone. So it's been great having him back.
AlbanyFireWolves.com, easiest way to get tickets. It's going to take you to a phone number to the ticket sales team where you will avoid any fees that you might find on like a Ticketmaster. So we would say you're going to buy tickets to an Albany FireWolves game. It's the best way to do that. It's also the first sensory-friendly game ever, and what a team to try to do that against.
I was gonna say, my guess is
Buffalo.
The Bandits fans aren't going to be as sensory friendly as
gonna have a couple of sections that are designated to families and people who are sensory sensitive.
Really cool.
And so it's the first time that the Albany FireWolves have ever done this. It's Saturday with the Buffalo Bandits coming to town. Will, other than the obvious of like wanting to stack as many wins as possible at this point to try to get into the playoffs here, 2 games out, what would a win do for the psyche of this team if you're able to beat Buffalo, first place team?
Yeah, I mean, it would be great. I think, again, we have the confidence in the room that we can beat anyone, any night. So they're obviously the defending champions, but I think there's just so much talent in the league and the margins are so thin. If we just kind of bring our best game, I think we can beat anyone. It is just kind of a one game at a time thing for us right now. So just because we might beat Buffalo or lose to them one week doesn't mean everything's going to change or everything's going to fall apart. So just kind of have to take it one game at a time. But they're the next team in front of us right now. So just get ready for that. Do everything we can. Hopefully get by them.
Do we hate the Bandits? Has this become just kind of a natural rivalry with the 2 teams in New York, Rochester excluded?
I mean, personally, in my opinion, I hate everyone the same. Love the FireWolves, hate everyone else. So I have no teams that I really like. So love the FireWolves, hate everyone else.
Equal opportunity. I like that.
Will, I'm not going to ask you to stump for yourself because I know you probably won't, but top 10 in loose balls in the league as a rookie. You lead all rookies in scoring, I believe. you're obviously going to go up against one of your teammates for Rookie of the Year in Dyson Williams, who has been, he's had that talk since he started to come in here. And there are other players in the league who will go up for it as well. But when a guy like Doug Jamieson stumps for you and says, we're seeing this guy become one of the greatest players in the NLL, one of the greatest defenders in the NLL, what does the support of your coaches mean? Because even Clarkey said, yes, you should be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. And D guys don't get a lot of love in that department.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to hear those things and kind of the support from those guys. I've been really fortunate all year to be kind of put in positions of trust. So I'm really grateful for that. Playing with the guys that I play with too has been just super helpful for me. Nards on the face-off, Doug in net, all the leaders on defense. So I've been pretty fortunate for the spot I've been put in, and super grateful for everyone that's helped me along the way. To go along with Dyson as well, he's had an unreal season. I think he's more than deserving of the award, especially kind of as the season goes on. You're seeing him just get better and better. Those big moments, he's came up clutch a couple of times. So,
yeah. And
to go along with that too, someone who I don't think gets talked about enough is Zach Masson. He's been awesome for us. Maybe the numbers might not jump off the page or anything, but it's really impressive to see after playing hockey for all that time, him come in and just he's getting better and better every week too. So it's fun playing with all these young players. So it's been cool. I think all three of us are probably would any award or recognition for just wins at this point, but yeah, it's been fun.
FireWolves are launching a new line of gear at Dick's House of Sport. That's happening as we do the show live on a Tuesday night. That's going to happen Wednesday late afternoon, 4:30, and our guys at Novice are making that gear. It's the first time you'll find Novice apparel at a Dick's, and it's specially branded team gear for the FireWolves at Dick's House of Sport in Latham. So you can't make it to the arena to buy some stuff or online. You can get it in store at Dick's House of Sport this week. All right, Will, you're from Victoria, British Columbia, but you're around the capital region so much now, more than a lot of other players get to be also. And so you do school visits and you do a lot with the youth camps and stuff like that. But what have you found in the capital region that you really like, whether it's a restaurant or just something to do, somewhere to go?
A favorite spot to go. I'd say we're kind of from Clifton Park, so a little bit north of the downtown area. We don't get to spend too much time in the city really, but just kind of around us. We usually sometimes we go to Delmonico's, grab some steaks. So that's something we like to do. Besides that, we try to buy as much just groceries as we can. Try to keep
you guys are healthy.
Yeah.
Or spending too. Just try to keep that down.
Yeah, right.
Also,
I hear that.
Yeah. Sometimes we treat ourselves, go for a steak or something like that. Delmonico's.
Yeah, cool.
Will was at one of our schools, Bout Hills.
Nice.
Made the trip with Sam Firth.
North Colony.
Teaching the kiddos, yeah.
I love that.
Yep.
Awesome. Will, good luck this weekend, man, against Buffalo. It's great to see you out there healthy and playing as well as you are. Ash, of course, we'll see you down on the floor Saturday night against the Bandits. Thanks, Will.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Thanks for everything you guys do for the team and the sport. We really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate that, man. All right, that's Will Johansen of the Albany FireWolves getting ready for the Buffalo Bandits.
Did I call him the top or did I call him the top rookie scorer? He's top rookie D scorer.
Yeah.
If that's what I said.
Yeah, 5 goals,
correctly.
5 assists.
Yeah,
I think he's got 10 points this
I don't
season.
want to put him ahead of Dyson and Brennan. I don't want to sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, but I don't remember what I said. So
yeah,
there you go.
It's a misspeak sometimes.
Yeah.
We'll take it either way, though.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, exactly. Can Albany beat Buffalo?
I think they can. It just depends on which version of the team shows up. If they play like they did the last 2 games, I think Doug is playing so well.
Yeah. Yep.
If like Will said, if they continue to give him shots that he can handle, I think they can beat anyone. And I think that kind of goes for the NLL in general. But Buffalo has proven they are one of the more unbeatable teams in the league year after year. Yeah. So now they're going to be going for another title.
10-2, I think, going into this game, and Albany, those 2 games out of that final playoff spot.
Yeah, to think about, they've got 5 wins, and yet they're not out of the hunt.
Right.
They just have to keep winning.
Yes.
And that's what we've said. Like, you have to continue to stack wins. You have to get to that 8 number to be possibly in the mix to go.
Yeah, the crowd was great last week.
Best crowd ever.
Show up and show out again with the best team in the league in terms of record anyway, coming to town this weekend, 7 o'clock Saturday night, MVP Arena. We're back in a minute here on Onorato and Miller with the full breakdown of our final 4 picks, national champion, and maybe a dark horse or 2 as well. Back in a minute.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
It's March Mania at Elfin House, and we're offering slam dunk prices on top RVs. Right now, take home a Coachman Catalina for just $127 a month. That's an all-star deal for big-time adventure. Or step up your game with a Grand Design Reflection. Only $377 a month for championship-level comfort. But hurry, when the clock hits 0, these deals are gone. Visit Elfin House today and score big before March Mania ends. Elfin House RV, your total camping outfitter.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Albany House.
Taking all the way to the finish here with our final 4 picks and more. Our guy, Nick.
Why does it not surprise me? I'm not sure why I would have thought or who I would have thought he was going to root for, but that feels like very on brand.
Michigan State?
Yeah.
Or Tom Izzo?
For Nick, yeah.
How do you not like Tom Izzo?
I love him. I think he's great.
Me too.
I love when his voice gets raspy.
It's that I think he lives that way.
Yeah, because he yells so much.
You'd find him in the off season. There is no off season. I get it, but boy, I don't know that guy ever has full throat with his voice. Wendy's watching in Atlanta.
Hello.
Go Braves.
Oh yeah, you love the Braves.
Well, anytime I hear Atlanta, I just think Braves. Okay. I'm ready for baseball season.
It started.
We can make a quick note of what Shohei Ohtani did in that opener in Tokyo, which was early Tuesday morning here Eastern. Yeah, we popped that on in the newsroom.
I was watching at the diner.
There you go. Nice. And Ohtani had a couple of hits, couple of runs scored. Dodgers beat the Cubs 4-1.
I started watching. It was 1-0 Cubs. Yeah. I left the diner. It was 3-1.
Yeah.
So clearly I'm the good juju for...
It's interesting how America is just going to root against the Dodgers this year. It'll be fun. They are the villains, and every sport needs a villain on some level.
And they have spent so much money and taken every good player out there. Like, of course they're hateable. Like, that's how it works. Nobody wants that, except for Dodgers fans.
All right, let's start with the first round here, just because that's where kind of people's minds are right now. And so our favorite first round upset is, I like Colorado State to beat Memphis.
Okay.
Colorado State has an NBA player on its roster. Memphis is injured. And so I really thought this was going to be the year that Penny got the Tigers over the hump. And that means through the round of 32 into the Sweet 16. But I don't like this matchup, and I don't like the fact that Memphis is a little banged up. And so give me the Rams as a 12 seed, which everybody loves.
Yep.
As a 12 seed to beat Memphis. You like Vandy over St. Mary's?
I like Vandy because Vandy plays in the SEC. They've played a ton. They haven't won a ton of great games, but they've played a ton of really good games. They've played Tennessee tight. They've played a lot of teams tight in that conference, and I think that is the type of team that when you get to March, when you take lumps all year long, it used to happen in the ACC, back in the Big East, like you just get crushed and you beat each other up all year long. Then you get to the tournament and you can win big games. I also just don't think St. Mary's is the St. Mary's of past. So a lot of people are going to say this isn't an upset, but it's a 10-7 game. So it's an upset in my mind.
Look, a lot of people look at Colorado State and Memphis and say that's not an upset either. Onorato, Colorado State's favored. It's a 2.5-point spread in Colorado State's favor, but I'm looking at the seeding.
Right, the seeding.
That's how people generally this time of year view an upset. But I understand if you're a betting person, I get
Sure.
it. Double-digit seed to make the deepest run here.
I'm just going to ride my team.
Go ahead.
And I looked at others and I thought, well, that second game for a lot of teams is not winnable. So, like, if I like Arkansas to beat Kansas, well, then they're done against St. John's. So I went with a team that I thought had a winnable second game in Vanderbilt. I don't know that they'll win it, but at least more winnable than they're not playing St. John's.
Vanderbilt's second game of the tournament would be against
where are they?
Here you go. Going to play Alabama.
Yeah, not great, but whatever.
But another SEC team.
Yeah, someone they've played before.
I was tempted to take North Carolina here.
Okay, but you went with the other 11.
I did. I went with the other 11. I think North Carolina wins the first 4 game.
Okay.
And then
let's hope they don't for my pick.
Yep. Could certainly beat Ole Miss. So that's technically 2 games, but it's not a deep run. No. Again, I need you into the second weekend
you gotta win
for it to be a deep run, Sweet 16 or Elite 8.
2 non-first 4 games.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I didn't love Carolina's chances to beat Iowa State after that. So I thought, well, Texas, to Ashley's theory here, battle tested.
Takes it on the chin all year. Yeah.
SEC team.
I still can't believe they're an SEC team. It makes me so confused.
Gets by Xavier in the first 4. I really like Illinois, and I think Illinois as a 6 seed could make some noise. Like I did fill out a bracket today. I've got Illinois beating either Texas or Xavier, and then I've got Illinois beating Kentucky.
So much for your Texas pick.
But
you're going against yourself.
But the fact that I like Illinois to beat Kentucky leads me to also think I think Texas can beat. Is this a transitive property statement? Texas could also then beat. I think Kentucky is not exactly the strongest 3 seed out there. I don't even think they should be a 3 seed. So I see a couple, again, like I said at the beginning of the show here.
You're
and
confusing
if
me.
People are.
You think Texas is going to lose and then all of a sudden they're going to win?
Well, I think if Texas does win, they can beat Kentucky, is what I'm saying. I think that next line is an easier victory to get into the Sweet 16 than some of these other double-digit seeds we have on the board. And again, I said at the beginning of the show, I'm having a really hard time finding double-digit seeds that I like.
Yeah. Chalk, rock chalk,
which
Jayhawk.
You know what that says. We're going to get a ton of upsets.
I mean, some.
Your final 4.
My final 4. Auburn out of the South. I know they've lost 3 of 4, but I still like them the best. I couldn't even really find a 2 seed outside of Tennessee that I liked. So even to get Duke, I think, done as long as Cooper Flag plays. Florida, everyone's talking about them as the best team in the country right now. I don't disagree. I like Tennessee as a 2 seed more than I like any other 2 seed to get out of that, to get out of their bracket.
The other 2 seeds are St. John's, Michigan State, and Alabama.
Okay. You like Michigan State?
I do.
Okay. Yeah, I went with. I didn't want to pick all chalk, and that's as chalky as it gets. But I thought Houston was the weakest 1 seed, so I'm going to say Tennessee, and I like Tennessee as a 2. I'm going to say they have the best chance to come out of that bracket.
Which would be the biggest? It's a bracket too. Which would be the biggest surprise if one of these 4 didn't make it to the Final 4 for you?
Duke.
No.
If Cooper Flag plays, if he doesn't play, then nothing would surprise me. He's going to play, but maybe he won't play the first game.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. Let's see how Vegas reacts to this. I'm not sure what the number is on Duke right now,
like that.
But. You know, I can get you that. Actually, hang on a second here. This is Duke. Well, we don't have it yet because we're waiting for the 16 seed to come through for them. 20.5. It's going to be a big number. If Cooper doesn't play, I don't know that it moves
still going to
much
be big
beyond that.
Yeah. It's still going to be big.
Yeah. Everybody seems to like Duke's path. That's what you hear. Like, I like Duke's bracket. I like Duke's path. Alabama as a 2 would present a challenge because Nate Oates' team plays so fast and they're going to score a lot of points. But
Baylor in the second round, Baylor, Mississippi State in the second round, Arizona maybe in the I mean, yes.
Yeah.
But...
My final 4: Michigan State out of the South.
There you go.
So that means they would potentially have to beat Auburn.
So we do the old switcheroo.
But I love the way Izzo has this team going. I know they didn't win the Big Ten championship game, didn't even get to that game. But I love the team they have now. Jace Richardson has taken off as a star of that team, but they're tough the way most Izzo teams are tough. So I like Michigan State to get there out of the South, Duke out of the East, Houston. I'm riding Houston here, being healthy.
Okay.
Houston, I couldn't talk myself. I went full chalk here. I got Houston against Tennessee in the Elite Eight.
Go Vols, Ray Hurt.
And I couldn't talk myself into. But you know what is interesting? This is the team that would blow up some brackets if you're just filling out a bracket and hoping. Yeah, because Gonzaga could beat them in the second round. Gonzaga. If people watch Gonzaga, you go, eh. And then you look at the record and you see, how do they lose some of these games? I'm not going to get super nerdy in it, but there's a thing called the net ranking. And Gonzaga is a top 10 team in the country in the net. And the net has proven to really show us how successful a team is going to be come March and the NCAA tournament. So West Coast Conference, nobody sees them. They play too late at night for the East Coasters, and they've lost some games this season that they shouldn't have. They're an 8 seed. They're a 9 seed. They're
they
a 9,
don't have
like
a Chet Holmgren.
No.
They don't have
Jalen Suggs.
have a super. They don't have an NBA star right now on their team that will be a top 5 pick.
But Mark Few gets to the Sweet 16. So, and then Florida out of the West. Florida, I think, is playing the best out of any team in the country right now. I love the Gators. Weeks and weeks ago, I bet them to win it all.
That'd be exciting.
So I almost feel like, I'm going to say same as you, Duke would be the most surprising team to not get here. But I'm going to put Florida there too, because if you get a Florida-St. John's Elite Eight matchup, Florida's way too good for St. John's. And I would be, I have heartstrings that pull for the Red Storm because of the Big East history growing up in that area. It's fun to have them back at the top.
I don't.
And I understand a lot of people who don't like Rick Pitino. I find him to be very charismatic for sure. And I want to stop short of saying genuine because that's going to be taken the wrong way. But when
self-deprecating,
when you hear his halftime speeches, and when you hear his interviews, I just think, how do you not root for this guy? Put all that other stuff aside. How do you not
all the
root
other
for
stuff
this
is
guy,
why.
Right? I get it.
Duh.
I get it. All right, I got to be quicker here. Your national championship, Duke over Florida.
Yep, I saw yours. This was mine, and then I saw yours and was like, should I flip it? But I can't. Me saying Duke's going to win means they won't, which is all I need in my life.
We both say Duke over Florida. I like South Carolina to win it all on the women's side. You like UConn.
First time in how long? When's the last time they won? 2016?
Something like that. Maybe
2016
longer ago.
or 18, something like that.
Longer ago than 18.
They beat South Carolina by 20 during the regular season. I'm going to ride them. I know South Carolina's angry that they're not the overall number 1, but I'm going to do something different and pick UConn.
I think it's, well, you know what's funny, though, is I think somehow UConn has become an underdog here, and Gino Auriemma has become kind of the person you want to root for. It's crazy.